A torpedo detonates near a U.S. carrier group, and nobody fires back. That restraint wasn't luck. It was doctrine, sensors, and a timed pause after an acoustic shock that looked like war. Before we move on, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and like the video. Today, you'll see the setup. Two Venezuelan subs closing silently on what they believed was a lone amphibious ship, guided by degraded radar that merged multiple contacts. You'll hear how the U.S. read the underwater signature, held fire for 3 seconds, and kept a regional standoff from spiraling. They thought it was one ship. The scope said so. The return sat fat and stubborn near the EEZ line, edging closer than routine patrols. So analysts in Caracas tagged it as an American amphibious ship testing the boundary. The problem started with the screen itself. High humidity thickened the Caribbean air. Sea clutter ran hot. An older coastal radar fed a console that loved to glue echoes together when the weather got sticky. What looked like one hull was several, and the size of the blob matched the assumption, not the water. Under those conditions, long-range ducting bent the beam beyond normal. The radar energy skimmed along a warm layer close to the surface and jumped back down in patches, punching the same formation from different angles. Without modern filters to separate pulse strength and Doppler, the processor fused the hits into a single oversized ghost. A carrier, its escorts, and a replenishment ship merged into one drifting shape that slid across the scope like a barge. The track history drew a clean line, but the feed lagged by minutes, so the line was a story written late. The operations order locked everything behind silence. Emissions control meant both submarines would stay dark. No active sonar pings. No periscope sweeps that gave off a spike. Confirm by timing and bearing only, using passive ears and the shore radar plot. No one wanted to paint a target and broadcast intent. If the shore plot said one ship, the boats would treat it as one. That's how small mistakes get leverage. S-21 Bolivar and S-23 Sucre slipped out as diesel electrics designed to vanish in coastal water. They hugged the thermocline, that cold, warm boundary that bends sound and hides a hull from lazy listening. Batteries loaded, diesel plants shut down, they crept at a speed that swapped miles for stealth. The brief set a single surface target of opportunity, broad-beamed, predictable, and close to home water. A shallow-running torpedo would send a message without a body count. That assumption shaped everything that followed. Latency from shore made the lie look consistent. Radar data arrived with a delay that smoothed out turns and created a stable trail. Operators love smooth trails because they're easy to brief. When a blip doesn't jitter, the human mind fills in the gaps with intent. Steady course, steady speed, steady story. A noisy feed forces questions. A calm feed invites belief. Minutes in the ops room feel shorter when screens don't argue back. This wasn't the first time radar fusion played tricks. Fishing fleets have shown up as a single trawler more than once when humidity and old processors team up. Merchant convoys have bled together into a single, heavy contact that later split into 5 hulls as angles shifted. The pattern is reliable enough to be dangerous. When the atmosphere helps the error along, even trained eyes miss the seams. The misdrawn contact was not an amphib. It was the USS Gerald R. Ford strike group pressed into one return by ducting and weak filtering. A carrier, cruisers, destroyers, and support all squashed into a single echo that told a simple story to people who wanted a simple story. Caracas closed on the wrong picture, and the boats followed orders built on that picture. Both subs held silence and pushed inside what they thought was an outer lane around a lone ship. With strict emissions control and passive bearings only, they set up for a warning shot they believed would sting, not start a fight. The water would answer next, and in their plan, a shallow detonation at end of run would speak louder than any radio call, fast and final. How close did they get before the water started talking? Close enough that both boats could feel the thermocline pressing against their hulls like a lid. Bolivar and Sucre advanced slow, batteries only, staying tucked beneath that sound-bending layer. Their fire control teams loaded a shallow-running torpedo with a short search pattern, fuse set to self-destruct at end of run. The plan called for a loud message, not a kill. Bearings lined up off the old shore plot. No active pings, no periscope. Just passive bearings, a clock, and a target track that existed more on a console than in the sea. The launch changed everything in a second. A torpedo's start sequence has a voice you can't miss. Pump jet or prop, startup chatter, and a climb into speed that paints the water with noise. That acoustic signature blew up across the layer, bouncing off the thermocline and scattering into the outer ring of the US screen. On American sonar, any torpedo is hostile until proven otherwise. The reaction was immediate because doctrine assumes worst case until the displays say otherwise. The carrier altered course, escorts tightened their arcs, and the air wing spun up the assets already on station. The US picture was layered and ready. The strike group ran its standard screen. Destroyers and cruisers holding sonar patrol lines, towed arrays out, and weapons on cue. MH-60R Seahawks were already airborne, dipping sonars in a pattern that stitched gaps in the surface ship coverage. Surface ships stood by with decoys and ASW weapons, and US submarines held their own watch outside the ring. When the contact hit the net, it came in sudden and clean. A transient launch point, then a fast, shallow runner with a bearing that mattered. Doctrine treats a torpedo launch as existential, but the sensors go deeper than a binary threat call. Sonar teams read run depth by how the sound interacts with layers, listen for the harmonic fingerprint of guidance, and log speed changes against known run profiles. MH-60RS fed buoy data back into the plot. The group's processors compared the torpedo's tone set with libraries that mark common models. All of that flowed in seconds, not minutes. Then, the end-of-run event hit. A self-destruct pops hard and clean. It's a sharp shockwave that flattens the water for a beat and clutters displays. That blast can sound like a hit, and it takes discipline to wait for the next frame of data. Operators scan for follow-on lines. No hot track marching toward the carrier. No second launch transient. No seeker switching into terminal homing. The picture looked violent, but short-lived. How close did it get? Close enough that the sonar suite classified, localized, and shifted posture before any counterfire left a tube. Still outside the inner ring, in the outer defensive bubble where the group expects to meet a threat first. Weapons were cued, decoys were primed. The screen adjusted to put steel between the noise and the high-value unit. Everything leaned forward without breaking loose. Here's where judgment mattered. Combat systems cued fire, but command ordered a deliberate pause, 3 seconds, to confirm that no real torpedo still ran hot toward the carrier. 3 seconds is long when you hear water yelling. It's short when your displays are clean. No continuing threat track appeared. No second detonation. The pattern matched a self-destruct, not an attack run closing the prize. Weapons stayed cold. Restraint, guided by sensors and a clear doctrine, stopped an escalation that would have pulled in every ship and helicopter within range. The shockwave drifted off, but the lesson rode the net. Bolivar and Sucre heard the group shift and knew the warning had reached farther than planned, while the carrier's screen recalculated positions for the next contact that might not end itself. A fused echo and a warning shot met a strike group that lives on data discipline. One side trusted a delayed scope. The other trusted layered sensors across air, surface, and subsurface. That gap nearly rode a firefight into the Caribbean. Latency, ducting, and silence rules framed the mistake. Library matched acoustics, buoy returns, and a 3-second hold framed the restraint. If you want the after-action breakdown, what both chains changed in the next 24 hours, let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for the debrief. In modern seas, seconds matter, but so do sensors. Who reads faster wins the next near miss.